After many years, a mystery may have been solved.
And Chris Rock's show tickets are selling out.
And the possibility for rain all next week coming up.
We have that and more. This edition of 15 News at Noon starts right now. Thank you for joining us at 15 News at Noon. I'm Konnor Stump.
And I'm Gabe Haberling.
A nearly 19-year-old mystery may have finally been solved in Pennsylvania after investigators find that the apparent remains of a man missing since 2003 in a submerged creek. Joe Holden spoke to a member of the dive team who helped with the recovery.
For the first time in more than 18 years, daylight shines on an SUV pulled from the depths of the Darby Creek. It's hoped clues about a decades-old cold case will also be unearthed. Divers with Adventures with Purpose assisted investigators in securing the vehicle in what they described one of the most challenging recoveries they've encountered, 24 feet down below the surface of this murky creek.
What was the state of the SUV when you got to the bottom of the creek?
For a vehicle that's been submerged underwater for 19 years, it was actually in really good condition. Luckily, the suspension was silted in, sunk in the bottom, so it, in a way, preserved it.
Earlier this month, a submerged car was located using a combination of sonar and other sophisticated technology. At that time, skeletal remains were also discovered. All signs and circumstantial clues point to it being James Amabile, a man reported missing in December 2003 when investigators say he called a babysitter to report he was running late and picking up his two daughters. The plates on the SUV matched Amabile's. Extracting it proved more challenging than could be imagined. Divers say when the docks at the Ridley Township Marina were built more than a decade ago, a supporting pylon was driven through the engine block of the SUV, pinning it to the creek bed.
Luckily, through the family and some local companies here, Pro Crane stepped up big time. They brought in a $3.5 million crane, donated all of their services. They had about 15 guys out there, and with them and us, we did it all free to the Ridley Township.
Forensic examiners will now determine if the body is definitely Amitable's. Police say that discovery could finally bring closure to a family that's been searching for answers for 2 decades.
Chris Rock apparently seen Will Smith slap Chris Rock has people excited to see Chris Rock on stage again. Hopefully sans slap. The comedian's tour has seen a big boost in ticket sales. Ticket reseller TickPick says it sold more tickets to see Chris Rock overnight than it did in the past month combined, sending prices through the roof, from $46 a ticket to a minimum of $341. If you missed it, and at this point, I hope you haven't. During Sunday's Oscars, Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife, who has a shaved head because she has alopecia. So Smith walked up on stage and slapped him. Smith has apologized, but the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences says it has started a formal review of what happened.
A couple celebrating a milestone anniversary at a seafood restaurant on the Jersey Shore left with something extra special to remember the event. And it's worth enough cash to keep celebrations going for some time. Alicia Reed explains.
How are you guys?
Good.
How are you?
The Lobster House checking in with their waiter, Alberto.
It's like a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Last Sunday, Michael ordered his usual appetizer, a dozen clams on half shell.
I was down to the 12th one, and when I picked it up with the fork, it looked kind of heavy, but I didn't think nothing of it. And then when I started to eat it, I noticed something was in my mouth. I actually thought one of my teeth broke.
It was actually a pearl.
He's eaten dozens and dozens of clams, and we've never found anything like that. So it was pretty exciting.
Not only did something spectacular and rare happen on their impromptu trip, the couple was also celebrating something special.
It was actually our anniversary of 34 years of coming here for the very first time. So that
Yeah,
even
we
makes
first
it more
came here
special.
President's Day weekend in '87.
Yeah.
The popular restaurant is celebrating its centennial year. Not a bad gift for the Spresslers to walk away with.
I have worked here for around 10 years now, and I've never heard of somebody finding one in one of our oysters or clamshells.
A whopping 8.8 millimeters. It could go for thousands of dollars, but money is no factor in this equation.
I would like to have it set into a nice piece of jewelry, maybe with a mermaid or something nautical,
Something for her.
as a beautiful remembrance of that day, and what we have is so special.
Their story has inspired others.
I've never eaten raw clams or oysters, but since somebody found something, I might have to give it a shot.
According to the Pearl Source website, the sea stone could be worth between $50,000 and $100,000, depending on the body of water it came from.
This week's poll is out. Which mythical creature would make the best pet? A, a dragon, B, a unicorn, C, a fairy, or D, a yeti? Head on over to our Twitter page after the broadcast to cast your vote. We have 15 weather Keaton Lewis in the studio. So Keaton, what is happening with the weather right now?
Hey Gabe, so currently right now in Valparaiso we have a lot of clouds today, so it's not really particularly sunny out today, but it is really dry on the ground. We did have some snow earlier this morning that did melt, but let's take a look at our headlines. So we have a sunny weekend ahead going into Sunday, and we will have some warmer temperatures as well into next week, and also some rain. And currently in Valparaiso, it is around 37 degrees with cloudy skies and northwest winds moving at 10 miles per hour. More coming soon. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Keaton. 2 people were struck by lightning recently.
And a Great Dane has been rescued from a cruel owner. Stick with us. Two people were struck by lightning recently.
My dad was knocked unconscious, so he doesn't remember most of it, which is he has me doing all the talking.
It's not too often 2 people get hit by lightning and live to Zoom about it. Ashley Moberg and her dad John were on their way back to Chicago today and told us at least what they could remember.
We're big Yankees fans, and we had never seen spring training, so when we heard that the baseball strike had ended, we jumped on getting some tickets, and I've never been to Disney either, so we went to Disney for the first time as well.
But as they ran from a thunderstorm at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa on Saturday, the dream trip became their nightmare when they found themselves trapped under a tree and unable to locate their car.
There was a bright flash and the loud boom that I heard, and the next thing I knew, I was flying out of my shoes, and my ears were ringing. I saw my dad hit his head on the ground, and then I hit the ground. I thought my dad was dead for about 10 seconds there, while I was lying on the pavement trying to figure out whether I had died.
Her father hit the ground, breaking his cheekbone. The necklace Ashley was wearing burning through her neck. Today they went back to the scene, this time smiling and with a sense of humor.
For everyone who's asking, yes, we got superpowers, and no, we're not allowed to talk about them.
Those photos are hard to look at. A Great Dane, just skin and bones. Now police say Damone's woman is being charged. Laura Terrell has more on her alleged involvement in the suffering of a dog named Cal.
He was a skeleton with a hide draped over him. I mean, he had no muscle mass.
These pictures tell the gruesome story. Weighing just 44 pounds, you can see nearly every bone in Cal's body. Des Moines police and ARL workers rescued the Great Dane from a home on the city's south side last week.
The officer immediately, instructed the owner to let Cal out of his crate. He immediately ran to the toilet and drank.
26-year-old Alexandria Byron turned herself in Tuesday. She's charged with animal neglect with injury, a serious misdemeanor. Authorities believe she deprived the dog of food and water for weeks, if not months.
I mean, I have seen literally hundreds, of thin dogs, and the question in my mind regarding Cal is how was he still alive in the condition he was found in.
The ARL immediately began around-the-clock care. IV fluids, and a careful eating plan for the starving pup.
When the food was put down in front of him, he didn't leave the smallest of scraps there in the bowl or around the bowl.
This horrible case is sadly one of several in recent months. In early March, 2 emaciated dogs were found in a kennel in a Des Moines apartment. Both are recovered and doing well. The ARL now hopes Cal can fully heal too.
He's getting all the love he could possibly want, so his situation has went from dire to having a good, solid chance at becoming someone's pet.
Cal continues to gain weight under the care of the Miracle Medical Veterinary Team at the Animal Rescue League of Iowa.
You may have to be clever to outfox the folks on Capitol Hill. But a different kind of fox, a four-legged one, ended its run there Tuesday. Animal control workers captured the animal that made itself at home on Capitol grounds. Public health officials confirmed Wednesday that the fox in question does have rabies. The animal was tracked down after 6 people reported being bitten or nipped, including Representative Ami Bera. The California Democrat said that he was nipped on the leg on his way to work Monday. He's doing fine, but is undergoing a rabies shot regimen. Officials say anyone who may have come in contact with the fox should contact the D.C. Health Department.
Tease to break. Coming up after the break, Keaton Lewis will have your full forecast.
Tease the break, and we'll have a look at this past week's national sports. Stick with us.
All right, taking a look at our future radar, as you can see throughout most of the weekend, we do have some clouds rolling through, but overall it's going to be mostly clear. And then as we head into the start of next week, we did see some of that rain come through and into Monday afternoon. And then as we go to the regional area, as you can see, we do have some hazardous weather outlooks here, specifically for central Indiana, for the possibility of freezing temperatures and severe weather. And as you can see, we do have some snow that's moving off of Lake Michigan, that's moving towards our southeast here. But overall, it's not really impacting much of Valparaiso. And as you can see over here, it's more clear in the Midwest. And then looking at our current temperatures, as you can see, it's mostly cold for the areas, but Valpo sitting around 39, and Chicago around 43, and Kankakee around 43. And then looking at our future temperatures, as you can see, it does start to cool down a little bit into the Sunday hours. If you're going to church, I would make sure to wear a coat. And then as we move into the start of the week, it does warm up a little bit to around 53, but as you can see, those cold temperatures will start to move in. And then around Monday evening, it'll be around 56 here in Valpo and around 58 here in Chicago. And then as we move into Tuesday morning, it's around 42 degrees, so I would make sure to wear some kind of clothing when you're going to classes or work on Tuesday morning. And then again, 43 here in Chicago and 45 here in Joliet. And then going into Tuesday evening, it'll warm up even more with Valpo being even in the 60s here. And then as we look at our national temperatures, as you can see, Chicago around 43, 69 here in Oklahoma City, so much warmer down here in the south, 72 here in Houston, and then over here to our west, it's around 43 here in Boise. And then looking at our future radar, we do have some clouds moving in again, and through Sunday and into Monday, we do have some rain, and then the clouds will start to dissipate, and then we get some more rain and so forth, and then it'll clear by then. And then looking at our future rainfall, because we are getting a lot of rain this week, I thought I would mention how much rain we're going to get, at least until Tuesday. It's going to be around 0.13 inches and a little bit less here in Chicago. Tonight you can expect a temperature of around 30 degrees with cloudy skies, and going into tomorrow, it'll be warmer with 61 degrees and take advantage of the sun. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Keaton. After the break, we'll have a recap of this past week's sports.
As we transition into spring, it is now time for our spring sports. Since nearly the end of March, the Chicago Bulls have been on a losing streak. The last game was won in a close 5-point call with the Clippers. They have lost to the Heat, Bucks, Celtics, and Hornets so far this month. Tomorrow evening, they will be playing against the Timberwolves at 7:30 p.m. Will they win? I guess we will have to watch to find out. Take me out to the ball game. Major League Baseball has started and there are several games happening across the United States. The White Sox will begin playing this afternoon against the Tigers, who they lost to yesterday by 1 home run. It may be cold up here, but at Martinsville Speedway, it's going to be somewhat of a sunny forecast with full forecast of racing. This evening, the NASCAR Cup Series will be racing in Martinsville with Chase Elliott leading the pack on the first lap. Yesterday at the track, number 19 Brandon Jones took the win for the Xfinity Series with Landon Castle and AJ Allmendinger in second and third. After the race, T.Y. Gibbs had a few words and punches to throw at Sam Meyer. It's been a crazy time in sports lately, especially with the recent death of the NFL quarterback that just hit headlines recently.
Oh yeah, I've been keeping up. I just want to say, did anyone see that fight last night with Ty Gibbs?
I didn't hear about it.
That was so insane.
Absolutely
I'm curious to see what NASCAR does about that and see if they do anything. So.
After the break, we will have a final look at the weather.
Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, you can see that there is a lot of rain going into next week, specifically on Tuesday and Wednesday, where we have some chances of thunderstorms. But even looking at the temperatures, you can see that it's around spring temperatures. The lows are not really winter anymore, and the highs are in the 60s and 70s, even Wednesday with around 70. And then going into the next weekend, it's going to cool down just a little bit.
Thanks, Keaton. Hey, I have a question for you. This one came in from a viewer. What is your favorite spring sport?
Personally, I'm going to have to say softball because they all have their cheering and chanting in the dugout. And last week I was at the Bradley game and our team was cheering on, and it was a really exciting, close game. What about you guys?
I mean, personally, I like baseball because normally you would see all the national teams start practicing for their upcoming season when baseball starts to come around again. And I think it's pretty cool to be able to see all the players start training again and get ready for their next season.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I love baseball a lot, especially even the minor leagues are even fun to watch as well.
Oh, definitely. If you have any questions for us, send it our way. You can send it to us through Facebook or Twitter, and we might be answering it. You can screenshot it of the forms, questions you've been asked, or questions that you have yourself. From all of us at VUTV, thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next week on 15 at noon.